Hey everyone, welcome back to the Book Cave with me, Jenny. So today I am going to be starting a reading vlog about a manga series, which I haven't really done before, so just bear with me a little bit as I figure out how I want to format this. But of course, I picked one of the longest Soho mangas that I know of, which is Skip Beat. And I have mostly the 3-in-1 editions. However, my library, for some random reason, does not have 40, 41, or 42. I was able to get them from another county, but they're all in single volumes. And then I believe it's 46. It's either 46 or 47 to 49. Or also going to be single volumes. But yeah, for those of you who don't know what Skip Beat is about, it follows Kyoko Mogami, who follows her true love and childhood friend, Sho. It doesn't say what his last name is here, but she follows him to Tokyo when he makes it big in show business. Little pun there, unintended. But she also wants to get into show business. However, her boyfriend, Sho, winds up getting in there first. He makes it big. He dumps her. She decides to get back at him. She is going to become the best idol ever. And so it's kind of just a story of revenge in a way. And yeah, I'm definitely excited to get into this. Like I said, I don't know of any Soho mangas that are longer. If you do, let me know down in the comments, because I'd kind of be interested to see what a longer Soho manga winds up being like. Hey everyone, welcome back to So I finished the first 3-in-1 of Skip Beat, and I actually really liked this more than I thought I would from the premise. Like, it just sounded like it would be kind of silly, but I really like Kyoko's dark side, and Sho, of course, you absolutely hate, but he's one of those characters that you're supposed to hate. And then we have Ren Saruga, who I don't really have a whole lot of an opinion on him yet, because obviously we've just met him. And even though he's one of the main characters, I feel like he's kind of like the more mysterious one. And yeah, we get a whole bunch of stuff in this. And then we learn about the Love Me section of LME Talent. And that one I think is a little kind of outrageous. I don't know that I could really see that happening. But, obviously it's fiction, so I kind of overlook that. But yeah, like I said, I'm just really enjoying this a lot more than I thought I would. And the art, I really love the art and the faces. And yeah, and I also really love how we get to see a whole bunch of different things that Kyoko thinks. You get a lot of her inner monologue and her inner thoughts. And I'm definitely interested to see how she grows. Because, like you said, I kind of gave everything to Sho and never did anything for myself. And you do get some hints of her past. So I'm definitely interested to see more of that as well. And yeah, I feel like this also is a really good way to read it, because, 3 volumes of manga doesn't take you too long to read, but it is also enough that, you read this and you might be, done for the day. Something that you can just kind of get through quickly and feel that sense of accomplishment of, I completed this, big book. They're over 500 pages, but being a manga. Yeah, that's just kind of my little thoughts running away with me there. But yeah, I'm going to continue on with this series and update you all as I have more thoughts about it. I finished the second 3-in-1 of Skip Beat, so that's volumes 4, 5, and 6. And in this one, we see Kyoko's first acting assignment. We see her becoming closer with a fellow Love Me department member, Moko. And then we see her and Ren have some time together as well. And then we find out something in that volume that Ren has apparently known her since she was young, that they somehow met then. So I'm definitely intrigued to see where that's going. And I do kind of love how Ren is like, look, if you want to act, that's fine, but act for yourself. Don't just do it for the revenge against Sho. I do feel, though, like, although that's driving her, she still really does enjoy the show business. So yeah, so far, it's definitely continuing to be fun and keep my attention, and I'm still liking it a lot more than I kind of thought I would. So Skip Beat 7, 8, and 9 definitely develops Kyoko a little more. I enjoyed seeing her act in this one. We get a whole lot of that, which was very fun to see. We do get a couple of romance lines, one of which I was expecting with Kyoko and Ren. And I will say Ren's take on it does not bother me. He sees the issue. However, his manager's take on it, that what's the big deal, kind of does bother me. Although I can see both of them. Because Kyoko's 16, he's 20. And the way Ren looks at it is, she's 16, I'm 20. That's inappropriate. She's underage. The way his manager looks at it, it's only 4 years. She matures fast, she'll mature faster because she's a girl. Well, I agree with his thing that it's only 4 years. Ren's issue of she's underage, she's 16, I feel like is much more relevant. And yeah, so I'm hoping that nothing really happens there, at least until we get further on. Then the other one is along the same size. We have an 11-year-old boy named Hio, and then Kyoko's best friend, Moko, is working with him. They had an issue, and then she says something about, oh, he might have a crush on you. Which I do feel like, in some ways, the younger one to have a crush on the older one is fine, because then the younger one acts on it, the older one does the correct thing and says no. But at the same time, to think that is a little kind of odd, I do believe. But yeah, so this was kind of a mixed volume. I did, however, really like the ending, that Kyoko now gets to work with Ren on a drama that is a very big deal because it's a remake of one that came out 20 years ago. So that's going to be like a big, huge thing. They want to outdo the new one. And I feel like the next couple volumes then should really showcase her acting and her and Ren acting together. Because I really did like the scenes of that we got earlier on during, I think it was in the last volume, 4, 5, and 6, when she kind of acted opposite him for just like a scene or two. But yeah, I did enjoy that, and I am looking forward to seeing what this drama holds and kind of where Kyoko goes and how she continues to grow and maybe not let go of her grudge, but not let it drive her as much. So I finished the next 2 volumes, 3-in-1 volumes I should say, of Skip Beat, 10, 11, 12, and 13, 14, 15. So these 6/2 volumes basically follow one of Kyoko's first major acting jobs, and that is in a remake of a drama called Dark Moon. And there is a lot to do with like the director's past and feeling like he's in his father's shadow and so on in there. And we also see Ren get into his first real slump, and then we get some interactions between Kyoko and Ren due to that. And then we get a new player in the second half, and that is another Visual Kei group. Although I guess Sho really isn't a group, but he is still a Visual Kei artist. And this group kind of takes over his look and copies him. And so we see his frustration with that. And then we also get to see Kyoko's frustration with that, because she wants Sho to be number 1 so she can become bigger than him while he's number 1. And just show that she is the best, basically. And we get some really dark stuff with that whole group. And there's definitely going to be more with it, as we still have a good bit at the end of this where Dark Moon hasn't fully wrapped up. And then we have Ren at the very end just showing up to try to help Kyoko, even though he doesn't know what's going on. And we end on rather a cliffhanger, at least from a relationship point of view. But yeah, I'm still enjoying this a lot more than I thought I would. And although the whole Ren Kyoko thing bothers me a little bit, it's still kind of at a point where neither of them is making a move. And yeah, so that kind of helps it a little bit. I do wish that they had both just been aged up a little bit, and I feel like that's going to continue throughout this series. I finished Skip Beat 16, 17, 18. This one concludes the storyline with V.A. Ghoul, at least for now. I do have a feeling they may come back, and that there's more to that than it seems. We get a lot more of Ren's past, and we also meet a new character called Ku, and I have an idea of who he might be, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to wait until I get into the next volume to see it. I am enjoying seeing the art style kind of mature and grow, become more complex, and I am also really enjoying the story beats in this. I really didn't think, as I've said before, that I would enjoy it so much, or that I would enjoy it for so long, honestly. So I am excited to get further into this and see if my idea is correct or not. So I finished the next several volumes of Skip Beat. I finished 19 through 21, and I finished 22 through 24, as well as reading volume 25 out of the next one. And I have to say, these didn't necessarily bring a whole lot more plot, but they did show some more character interactions, and that was fun. In 19, 20, and 21, I did get confirmation that what I thought was going on in the last three actually was. And we get to see some fun little tidbits of that. And then we also see some of Moko in this, which I was kind of glad to see her again. And we also see Maria again, and we find out Kyoko's birthday, which is Christmas. And I absolutely loved the fact that she made that little thank you party, gratitude party for Maria on Christmas Eve so that Maria could celebrate her birthday. And that was also really cute that Maria's birthday was the 24th and Kyoko's is the 25th. And what Ren did was also absolutely adorable. And I'm starting to like him. I did like him before, but I wasn't necessarily rooting for them. I'm still kind of on the edge about it just because of the age difference and everything. But yeah, this one was really cute, and we got a really great friendship scene with Kyoko and Moko. Then 22 through 24 introduced Kyoko's new job in the new drama. And I have to say, I really like her new look in that drama. She looks very much more mature and just, I don't know, I really like that hairstyle on her, I have to say. I do feel like it's very intense in the bullying. But yeah, so this was another just kind of following the show business, and it shows her growth as an actress, which I did really enjoy. Then that also starts the Valentine's Day arc, which has some more with V.A. Ghoul, which I was so hoping they were done. They just annoy me. And then volume 25 in this one finishes up the Valentine's Day arc. So we get to see Kyoko's Valentine's Day, which was kind of hectic, but it was also pretty fun. Obviously with everything that went on with Ren. Then we see V.A. Ghouls, in a way. We see shows. We see as well Moko's, which was okay, but again, her romance, although I wouldn't really say there's like any romance on her part, it's just, again, the ages, not necessarily the age gap, because again, it's only like 5 or 6 years, which isn't much, but when you consider that both Moko and Kyoko are 16, 17, any sort of age gap is going to put them at vastly different stages in life. And yeah, but overall, I am enjoying this, and I'm making really good progress, obviously, and they're starting to read a bit faster as well. So I finished the next, so I've gotten through a good bit more skip beat now. I read the rest of this one, which was 26 and 27, and then the next two, which took me from volume 28 to volume 33. And then these volumes pretty much focus on a new role that Ren Saruga has taken on now. He is pretending to be a British actor of Japanese descent and is a pretty dark character, and is also playing a dark character in a kind of horror slash slasher movie. And I found this really interesting. I enjoyed seeing Kyoko change so much for her role to support Mr. Saruga throughout this, which was to be his sister Setsuka. And it was interesting to see her looks change and her personality, how she kind of worked through it all. And I do feel like everything with Saruga's past is kind of getting ready to come out. We're getting a whole lot more little hints about it. And we also have found out now that he is actually American, Russian, and Japanese. And that some things have happened in the past. And that is why he does not take comments about that very lightly. And there was actually some pretty dark scenes in these, and I'm kind of honestly surprised that they've kept it at a teen rating and haven't upped it to like older teen, because while nothing is really, really bad, I just feel like some of it is maybe a little dark and should have that higher rating. And I am kind of sad though that we don't get a whole lot of Moko throughout these. And we also don't really get a whole lot of Kyoko going to school, which granted, that's not something I would necessarily be all that interested in, but it is kind of a big thing that had been mentioned, you know, that she wasn't able to go to school and now she is. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to get further and to see how things change in the next few volumes. Finished the next 3 volumes, 34 through 36. This one was actually pretty fun. I did enjoy, we get a good bit of Kuon in this. Kyoko meets Kuon, and we get 100% confirmation that he is Korn from her past. And I do kind of love how she has that part of, you know, I'm not going to fall for anybody. I'm going to be like stoic and everything. But yet I still believe in fairies. And she like realizes that even though Kuon's eye and hair color and hairstyle is different, she still asks, she's like, wait, you sound like Mr. Saruga. You look just like him, like proportion wise and everything. Why? And when he says, oh, you know, it's the magic, I can't speak unless I take somebody's voice, is what he told her to start with. And said, I took Saruga's voice because he's the last person you thought of, basically. And yeah, I just think it's kind of fun to see her, like, she'll believe that, but yet she won't, like, believe in love. And I really did kind of enjoy seeing her and him react to each other like that. And then we get the conclusion of the whole thing with the Kane and Setsuka heel. And we go into something else that will be very interesting to see how Kyoko deals with that. And yeah. The other thing I did find very interesting is we get a lot of Ren's past. We don't get like 100% of what happened, but we do get a lot of it, and you can kind of piece together what happened, although I'm not sure entirely why he blames himself. But yeah, I'm hoping that we'll get like more information about that, and more information about Kyoko's, the rest of her past, as well as we get, you know, closer and closer to being done with this series. Although I'm actually not sure how many it's going to be. I know we're up to 49, but as far as I know, the author hasn't said anything about like how many it will be. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying this. I do have a few little issues with the one thing that got me with this is part of the plot was Kyoko had to take her tests to move up to the next grade in school, and that was mentioned. She was taking a break for that, and then it just kind of skips. So I kind of like that in a way, but also not, because I feel like it kind of is a big deal, but I also feel like it's not something I would necessarily be that interested in. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting series that has some different mixed things for me. Finished the next three volumes. Volumes 37, 38, and 39 really deal a lot with Kyoko's past. We learn a lot about also why her mother was the way she was. And yeah, that was a very tough one to read. I do like that they were able to kind of come to an understanding and just be like, we may not be perfect, but we are mother and daughter, so we do need to be able to at least like talk and stuff. And yeah, I just think it showed a lot of growth on Kyoko's part, and I'm really getting annoyed with Sho. He just kind of annoys me more and more as this series goes on, and he's not a good character at all, in my opinion. I mean, he does seem to care at some points, but he's just so absolutely ridiculous. And the way he treated Kyoko, yeah, just not here for it. Ren, I'm just kind of like, will you hurry up and tell her the truth? While I did like the previous volume, Everything with Corn, and I thought that was kind of a little nice breather, I do wish he would just tell her at least that that's who he is. And I wish that he would tell her, I have something that's happened in my past. I'm not ready to talk about it. Because, yeah. Although I suppose part of that could also be the way he is trying to keep his distance. Because if he lets her in, then they're allowed to have a relationship, So I feel like that aspect isn't quite as annoying. But yeah, I am definitely enjoying seeing Kyoko grow more than anything throughout this series. And there were honestly a few little things here and there that I felt like I was missing stuff. Ren was in South Korea. I haven't missed any volumes. Why was he there? Like, what, I mean, obviously he was filming something or something, but, there was no mention of it, and it was just a little jarring, to be quite honest. Well, another thing I do wish is that we would get a little more of Mr. Yashiro. I did really enjoy him, at least when he is not being in his teasing mode, which that one is sometimes okay. He's just another one that I feel like sometimes it goes a little too far. And yeah, so overall, getting closer and closer to being caught up with this, and honestly just getting a little bit more ready for things to, progress at least in the relationships developments. I'd honestly maybe like to see a little bit of a time jump, because they're still 17 and 21. Not very comfortable with that. Volumes 37, 38, and I finished the next 6 volumes of Skip Beat, 40 through 45. 40, 41, and 42 I read separately, but I had to return them because they were from a different county. But in these 6 volumes, we see Kyoko find a new job in a period piece about a female samurai and a female ninja, and that was really fun to see her develop yet another new character and see another new side of her. And then in these 3 volumes, 43 through 45, we get a little bit more development in the relationships. We see some more of her and Sho and her and Ren, And then at the end, we finally get the confession. And as I said before, I've been kind of just waiting for that to happen and been like, Ren, just say it. Like, you know, just get it over with, spit it out. I know it's a little awkward, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, you know, it's been going on for like a year plus here. Let's just get it over with. And so I'm glad that we're finally going to get some motion on that. And I do like that he's starting to seem a little younger, so the age difference is not bothering me quite as much now, although it still does a little bit, as I've been saying kind of throughout this. But I'm excited to get through the next 4 volumes that I have and just kind of see where things go from here. I finished the last 4 volumes of Skip Beat, 46 through 49, and I have to say, I really love the background on this one, just like that little picture. It's extremely cute. And of course, that's Kyoko and Ren. But yeah, I really love how, like, the covers are getting a little different. And, like, you can see Yoshiki Nakamura getting better at drawing throughout this series. And I'm very glad now that this is starting to get a little less of the drawn out part, where it's just like, will Ren ever say anything? So yeah, I'm very glad that we finally get some movement there. I'm also very glad that, like, they have the respect for each other, that they're both like, you know, I like you, but I have things I want to accomplish, so let's just kind of hold off. And both of them just agree to that. And yeah, I love how mature Kyoko is and how immature she is at times. And the same thing with Ren. I am getting very irritated, though, that the whole thing about his past has not come out yet. He hasn't said a word to her, hasn't admitted that he was corn, and yeah, that's just really starting to bug me, especially we're this late into the series. Like, yeah, I feel like there could be a whole lot more there. Will I be continuing it? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I feel like it's one that now that I'm caught up, they're going to be releasing a little slower. So yeah, not entirely sure about that. But overall, it is one that is pretty fun. We do have some fun moments. It could be shorter, I do think, but I do enjoy seeing the character growth. But yeah, that's everything I have for you today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button and that subscribe bell so you'll be notified every time I post something new, and I will see you next time in the book cave. I finished the